long though. Like you keep with the alternate unders, alternate lines, and I feel like you've lost all of them so far. You want to talk about forgettable picks? That last one, very forgettable. So.
All right, welcome back to week number 3 of H2H, the show in which Tasos and I battle head-to-head in our NFL picks with a little bit of a twist that distinguishes us from a lot of other, pretty much all pick'em shows out there. We'll get into it today. We'll explain the rules if you guys are new. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Yeah, if you don't know what we're doing, we'll explain all the rules in just a second. But Tasos, you're undefeated. 2-0. This week, I mean, if the viewers could see my phone blowing up with your chirps, your constant things, I thought about canceling the show. I think I even texted you. I was like, the show's off. We're not doing it ever again. How are you feeling after a 2-0 week? Because you know what? I'm feeling pretty damn crappy after just getting my ass handed to me over and over again. Not going to happen this week, but it's happened so far.
Ev, it felt really good, and it was funny because it was already over on Thursday, basically. But then I took a little victory lap on Sunday with the Seahawks, obviously repping the jersey here. I knew it. I knew it in my heart, my soul, my mind, everything on that episode when we finished recording. I knew I was going to be 2-0. Like it wasn't. I didn't sweat. There was not even an ounce of me that thought I was going to lose last week. And it felt good. Obviously, we also improved. It went 2-2 overall. Hit the ones I needed to hit. The Seahawks bet, the Vikings, TJ Hawkinson, anytime touchdown. Just took care of business. That's what champions do. They just do their job, and that's it. So feels good to be 2-0. I do give you my condolences. I hope that you can pick it up a little bit here in week 3. For the people, the people, and I am keeping receipts, by the way. A lot of people on Twitter, on YouTube. Every time we put out what team are you on, I haven't seen a single team toss. So only
Seriously,
team
people love me.
That's fine.
The people love me, but I'm letting them down.
You want to keep losing week in and week out. You can keep riding with Ev, but the winner circle's a little lonely right now. We could use some more people. So Team Tasso, we're taking more members. And
the 2-0 for you in Fade Me rounds is crazy too, which again, if you're new, we'll talk about it, but it's the whole reason this dude is wearing a Seahawks jersey right now. The Fade Me round is electric, to say the least. Now I think we're cemented, and you are a Fade Me round legend, but yeah. I also we'll get into the show. We got stuff to talk about, but
one more thing real quick on the Fade Me round. I just can't get over the fact. I really can't. That you gave me my pick. You gave me the pick that I wanted bad. I was gonna take Seahawks plus 200. I was gonna take Seahawks, and it was just so funny because when you said Seahawks last week's show, go back and watch it if you haven't. It's hilarious. Go watch last week's episode in the Fade Me round. When you said Seahawks, I was like, oh shit, he just took my pick. That's it. I'm toast. And when you said team total under, I mean, it was just like Christmas came early for me. And it was like you play. I bet, and I'm not kidding. I'll show you my receipts, my DraftKings receipts. I bet the Seahawks money line, the Seahawks spread, and the game over, and the Seahawks. I mean, I won $300 plus on that game. So, Ev, thank you very much. Just want to give one more thank you for handing me the W last week. I appreciate it. If you want to do it again this week, I wouldn't be mad at it. So.
It's not happening this week. It's not happening. It just can't happen this week. I actually think if I go down 0-3. Actually, it's a win-win situation. I'll get back on the winning train, right? But if I go down 0-3, it's just going to be the most heroic comeback. So I'm not going to go down 0-3, but I will say, if I do, just think about how crappy you'll feel at the end of the year. Shout out to me in advance. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you got to win one first. So don't you're getting ahead of yourself. You're already predicting a big winning streak here.
Yeah.
Let's see you get one win first before we start talking about down the line.
All right. Well, I mean, we don't need to see it. I know it's going to happen. I saw it in my dreams last night, but we do have a couple things to talk about. We're looking to bring someone sort of into the H2H fold here. You want to tell them about that?
Yeah. So guys, we are looking for a social media manager or even just a manager of the show in general. We want somebody who is looking for some experience here in the sports media landscape in the industry. We're looking for someone who can help us run H2H, who can help us with the Guy Boston Sports Twitter account, can post highlights, clips, polls, can live tweet, something like that, who can help us with the production of the show. If you have any experience, or even if you just have been interested in doing something like this and you're looking for a platform, we can give that to you. So we are looking for that. You can apply. You can DM us at Guy Boston Sports Twitter account. You can DM us. You can sound off in the comments if interested. We will obviously reach out to you if that's the case. And then beyond that, obviously we're looking for a social media manager for that. We're also looking for people, Patriots fans in particular, who are looking to live tweet for us on our Guy Boston Sports account, who can live tweet Pat's games, can post highlight clips during real time, stuff like that. Obviously there's only so much that Ev and I can do. So we are hiring. We are looking for help right now for our social media channels, for TikTok, for YouTube, for Twitter. Anybody who's interested, make sure to reach out to us. You can do our Guy Boston Sports account, Guy Boston Sports. You can reach out to us there, or you can reach out to us individually. My Twitter is @AKlimos. For Ev, @EvGuyBoston. You can reach out to us individually if interested. And one last piece of business. Ev, do you want to comment on that at all before I go to the next piece of business?
Yeah, no, you hit it. I mean, it's just pretty much if you want to get involved, to what extent we can talk about it, but we're definitely looking for some extra hands here. And I think, obviously the channel's growing, the site's growing, the show's growing. So if you want to get involved at any of those levels, it could be this show specific, it could be social media specific, it could be site specific. Just reach out.
Yep. And one more thing we were thinking, and again, I told Ev this before the show. This is not because I'm 2-0, but I do feel like one thing that could make the show more exciting, it's a thought that I had, was what if we had like a wager of some sort between Ev and I for this show? At the end of the year, we look at our records, whoever's the best record, we win something, or the loser has a punishment. We right now don't really know what that would be, but it's an idea that we want to go with. So we're leaving it up to you, the fans. Sound off in the comments. You can talk to us on Twitter, reach out to us. Again, same Twitter accounts I just mentioned before. Any ideas you have for punishments for Ev for when he eventually loses this year in H2H? Any punishments you want to see him do? What the winner would receive? We're looking for ideas for wagers so that, I just feel like as the eventual champion, I need to get some sort of gratification, whether it be a trophy, whether it be Ev having to spend 24 hours in McDonald's. I don't know what it's going to be, but help us out. Sound off any ideas you guys have for punishments or awards, for whatever. Make sure to give us your thoughts. Sound off. We want to hear from you guys. We want you guys to be involved in this show as much as we are. And so I do feel like having a wager at the end of the day will make things a little bit more engaging, a little more interesting, and it'll just make me winning feel so much better. So sound off. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Again, you can reach out to us on Twitter as well. But Ev, I think we're ready to go.
Yeah, just like Tasos said, let's figure out what he's going to do when he loses at the end of this season. I think that's exactly what he meant. But let's spin the wheel. Before we do, I'll explain it real quick. If you don't know how this show works, really simple. We each have 3 picks, and then we have a fade me round. We'll explain that more when we get there. But we essentially will spin the wheel to decide what type of bets we are taking. We'll spin the wheel once per round. It's a snake draft. Really, really easy to understand. We'll get into it. This is to see who goes first, and then obviously, like I said, snake draft from there. If it lands on me, Tasos will go twice, then I go twice, snake draft. But let's see who goes first. Tasos, been killing the wheel lately.
Yep.
Let's see if he continues his streak.
And it's going to be me. There we go.
Yeah, that's the Tasos bunch there. We each had a few in a row.
Yep.
Right.
I can't say I'm surprised, Ev. I really can't. The wheel's just been my best friend on this show, so I can't say I'm all that surprised.
All right, so Tasos is going to have pick number 1, then I'll have 2 in a row. But what are we picking? Tasos, I threw a bunch into this
there
pie.
We go. I like that.
We have a bunch. Let's spin the damn wheel here. What do you want?
All right. I honestly don't know. I'm up for anything right now. I don't really have a preference.
I wanted a player prop. Things might be going my way. Let's go.
There's a player prop. All right. I don't hate that.
Let's go.
I don't hate that at all. All right, so first pick, again, as picking as someone who is 2-0, who has won each of the last 2 weeks, I am going to go for my first pick here. I'm going to go Jalen Waddle, anytime touchdown, plus 115 odds. You can get that on DraftKings. I've done pretty good with the anytime touchdown score bets. I know the Jake Ferguson week 1 didn't hit. By the way, it did hit week 2, which was kind of sucked seeing him score so early in week 2. But obviously we hit on the TJ Hawkinson pick last week. Jalen Waddle, I feel like he's due Tyreek Hill, who I'm not a big fan of right now. He's been stealing all the thunder in Miami. The Dolphins play the Broncos in week 3. The Broncos defense has not been fantastic, to say the least. Sam Howell threw all over it last week. Jalen Waddle's due, and I think Pat Surtain, who is one of the best corners in the game, I think he'll have the task of guarding Tyreek. And so I do think it'll leave Jalen Waddle open. I think he's just due for a touchdown. And this Dolphins team with 2, as long as 2 is healthy, they're going to throw, and they've been throwing. And so I just think Jalen Waddle, he's due for a touchdown here. Anytime touchdown, plus 115. Not a crazy, like, long shot bet. I just love it. I just think Jalen Waddle, he's just, again, I always say, like last week, these bets sing to me. This one just sang to me. When I saw it, I'm like, okay, I think this is going to be a hit. So this is, remember Ev last week when I told you I made fun of you for like, oh, this is a bet you'd give your parents. This is one of those. Like, if you want to win or pick this one, I think this is a pretty surefire bet.
I mean, I can see them putting up a lot of points, not to give away a lot of other picks within the show, but I don't mind a lot of touchdowns for Miami this upcoming week. But I don't know how, as a Patriots fan, even though you're wearing a Seahawks jersey, I don't know how you're going to throw down a Miami player prop right now. But hey, that's just you. That's clearly you're not a real fan.
Whoa. You know what? I didn't want to wear the Seahawks jersey just for that reason. I said that. I'm like, I'm going to get comments in the thing. Aren't you a Patriots fan? I am. I am a jersey collector as well. I love jerseys. So this is also the Super Bowl, not from the Patriots Super Bowl. This is from when they beat the brakes off Peyton Manning in the Broncos that year. But yeah, no, listen.
Whatever your excuse is, I honestly, I don't care. It's okay. It is okay. Like, I'm fine with it. I'm just saying.
All right. What do you got? Let me hear what you got this week, because I can't wait to see what minus 200 odd prop bet you've got this week.
I gotta start getting wins. I'm like, I'll take the minus 500. No, I'm actually looking at a plus 170 player prop here. It's also a touchdown score, and I'm going to Jacksonville as they play Houston, and I'm looking at Zay Jones anytime touchdown here. Zay Jones anytime touchdown. I don't know why you make that face. I almost said the Lions. The Jaguars, they have 10 red zone targets amongst their entire team. Zay Jones has 5 of them. Now, he got hurt last week. He came back, was fine, expected to play. I don't really expect anything else, to come up in terms of injuries. If that happens, then yikes. But, if a guy returns after halftime to an injury and plays the rest of the game, I feel okay. But I am looking at this target share here, and I am salivating for almost plus 200 odds again, getting plus 170 for a guy that's getting, so far through 2 weeks, 50% of the red zone targets. I'll take that all day long.
I mean, yeah, and I get the logic, and I don't blame you for it. Did you watch that Jaguars-Chiefs game?
Exactly, and they're not going to do that again. You said how good they were last week. You said how good they were last week.
I did, but man,
so they're going to do that. So they're going to do that 2 games in a row.
Trevor Lawrence, he bought a vacation home in the red zone last week, and he could not score. Like it was incredible how many shots he had. And I actually had a parlay, and he pissed me off royally. I had it was like the over and touchdown passes. Like I had Herbert, I had Allen. Every single person hit. It was like 10 to win like $2,000. The only person who couldn't produce a touchdown was Trevor Lawrence. Couldn't get a single touchdown pass against the Chiefs. I don't know. The Jaguars, I know I talked them up last week, but they did not look good against the Chiefs at all. And I don't know. I'm just staying away from them right now. I don't hate it. I get the logic behind it. It's kind of the same logic I had with the Jake Ferguson bet, where it's like he gets a lot of red zone targets, so I understand. After the performance Trevor Lawrence put out last week with the Jaguars, I just can't confidently bet on any touchdowns from that team. But I don't hate that pick. I'm not going to make fun of you for it.
I just can't see them doing that 2 weeks in a row. And if they do, if they do, then they're just chalked. Like this young, amazingly improved team that we all thought were Super Bowl contenders to some degree, then if they go and score, was it 9 point or whatever it was, right? It's like if they do that again, then it's like, okay, well then now we've learned our lesson. But if they're still the team that everyone wanted to say they were, I think they have a few more red zone chances, which they had plenty last week. You brought up that point, right? I can't see them doing it again. And Houston, not a very good defense.
No, but the Jaguars also have a lot of mouths to feed. That's the other problem. Like Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, Travis Etienne. Like they've got a lot of guys who they're going to target. But Zay
is the red zone guy. Exactly.
He does. Yeah. He is. So I don't. Like I said, I'm not going to make fun of you for that pick. I actually don't hate that pick. I might even bet that pick, Ev. I'm not going to lie. Like I don't hate it.
You're just going to have you're just like, well, if you win it in the show, you'll win it personally, and then you don't even get a loss. That's what I should be doing to yours.
Nope,
I should have done that with TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah.
All right. You're like, yeah, you should. All right, let's go. We got
scored the next 2, not just 1. He scored 2.
He went off. And we got the next one here. Again, I get 2 picks in a row. That was my first. We'll see what the next round is. This is round number 2. I kind of want another player prop. I don't think we get it, though.
You're going to get a spread.
Yep. Spread.
Okay.
All right. I don't hate my spreads here. I will say, and I can be honest, I think my spread picks were my least favorite heading into this week in terms of what I brought the show prepared. I am looking at an alternate spread, and I'm taking a peek here.
That's worked out for you so far.
I can't wait. You're gonna have to eat your words at some point, because these are all recorded. By the way, that social media manager, I'll pay you extra to go and just find every bad thing Tasos has said once I eventually take the record lead. But
am I wrong though? Like you keep with the alternate unders, alternate lines, and I feel like you've lost all of them so far. I feel like you just need to stay simple and just bet the actual line. But hey, you do you.
I think I have. I think I've lost them all. But regardless, I am looking at an alternate spread, and I'm not going too alternate. I've learned my lesson, all right? I'm only alting this one by 1 point, and I'm looking at the Eagles over the Tampa Bay Bucks here, -6.5, winning by a touchdown. Their spread right now is -5.5. I'm taking that up to 6.5, and we get a +110 odds return. I think they are the better team. This Bucks team, it's nice what they're doing. We saw last week, obviously, Mike Evans in particular, they go off. I'm still not a big believer in the team's consistency. I think I said that in week 1 here, too. I said that they have the names, but I don't necessarily trust everything they have, and that could be something that hurts them. I think it was like an over we were talking about. But they've played the Vikings, and the Vikings didn't look all that great. Then they played the Bears, and they beat the Bears by 10 points. To me, I'm like, okay, that's great. Baker Mayfield may have had his best game that he'll have all season. He only had 8 incompletions, threw for a touchdown, over 300 yards. I don't think it happens again. This Eagles team, whether you look at it from an offensive perspective, a defensive perspective, they have injuries, but they are still a powerhouse, and they truly are. They looked obviously better than they did in week 1 against the Patriots, against the Vikings on Thursday night. They didn't cover, but that's just because the Vikings also kind of went off offensively. The only thing that worries me here is if their defense folds, which they really couldn't get off the field against the Vikings altogether at times. But I don't trust this Tampa Bay offense. It's going to keep coming back to that. So I think that the Eagles can pull out, put up a decent amount of points, and they win this game by a touchdown. I'm not saying they blow out the Bucks. I really don't want to. I'm saying a touchdown score. I think that is kind of why I'm alting up to 6.5. And again, it's like, why would I bet 5.5 if I could just get 6.5 better odds? That's 6 to 7 isn't the biggest of differences.
No, but I just hope you know this is a loss. I just hope you're prepared for that. Why is that? Well, one of the picks that I had, I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to do that against you. I'm not going to bet against, but like I had Bucks plus 5.5. I just don't. I think I think the Eagles.
Yeah, but your time's going to come. Your luck's going to run out.
I know.
This happens
eventually, but I'm just the thing with this game is that I've now watched the Eagles both of their games in completion, and they've got some issues on defense. Like I think that they lost I don't think people like Jonathan Gannon. I don't know if he'll work out as the head coach of the Cardinals or not, but he was a damn good defensive coordinator for them. And I do think you're seeing the fact they lost him. They lost a lot of the veteran pieces on this defense. And I think they're going to be better as the year goes on. It's just they're a younger team. They have some new, like Jalen Carter, and they have a lot of the younger guys now are starting to step up, and they lost guys like CJ Gardner-Johnson, Javon Hargrave. So the defense, and the Patriots were throwing on them, and the Patriots looked horrific against the Dolphins last week. And then Kirk Cousins had one of the best games I've seen from him in the last few years against them. And then I'm not saying.
Can I ask you this? Would you take, if you were to rank these 3 guys, then right? Kirk Cousins, Mac Jones, Baker Mayfield. From a passing perspective, where do you put Baker Mayfield?
I'd put him probably third, but he also has better weapons than the Patriots do. So, I would take Mac Jones over Baker, but Baker does have a little bit more to work with. I think even the Bucs offensive line is better than the Patriots line. Mm-hmm. They've got Rashad White. We've talked about the names already. I just think the Eagles defensively are not where they need to be. And I think offensively too, they're solid, but I think the Bucs are kind of showing that their defense it's not as good as it used to be, but they're not bad. Their defense is still solid. I
just can't buy into the Bears. I can't buy into the Bears. That's like a moot point to me. Vikings, rusty week 1, didn't look great. I actually, we were both kind of on the side of the over in that game, right? That was one of your picks on the show. But that Bears, 17 points to the Bears, that's almost an equivalent of 34 to the Eagles, in my opinion.
Well, we're talking about the Bucs here, Ev, so I don't know why we're
No, they played the Bears last week.
Who? Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I thought you were saying Bears instead of Bucks. I was like, oh, this is
No. So that's what I mean.
Yeah. My bad.
So that's where
I was trying to
take
a shot at you, and it just backfired. Just went right back at me.
The bazooka was pointing the wrong direction. That essentially is what it's going to come down to. I think that the Bucks offense doesn't do what they did 2 weeks in a row. Okay, and then the Bears, and then a rocky Vikings team. I believe in the Vikings team, but they looked bad that week 1. Kirk Cousins didn't look all himself.
Agreed.
I don't think the Bucks are battle tested enough yet. I can't deny that they have the names. I can't deny the defense has looked good. I can't deny what they've done through 2 games. I'm going to trust the Eagles, who everyone was starting to doubt, but we still saw 34 points last week. Like, if this is going to be an offensive game, I'm taking the Eagles.
And I do think, and to be fair, I think the Eagles are going to win this game. I'm not saying the Bucks are going to win. I think the Eagles will win. I just think
touchdown is a lot.
A touchdown's a lot. I think it probably, and even they make. I think it's going to be like a 3 or. It's going to be weird to be 4 points, but it's going to be like a 3 or 4 point game. I think it's going to be close. I think the Bucks will hang around a little bit.
All right, what are you looking at for your spread pick?
All right, Ev. I'm thinking. By the way, computer just shit the bed mid record. So if you see a change in camera quality, I'm now recording from my smartphone. So that's karma for coming at Ev with all like the little sly comments and jokes. A little payback from the gambling gods. Computer just stops working. Going to my phone, but no worries.
I love my chances this week now.
I will be honest, not great for the vibes. Not a great omen for the show. The fact that like now my computer's not working, and not only that, all my headphones are dead. So like tablet was useless. Just not great for the vibes, but it's okay. Don't worry.
You know, we just felt a change in momentum. That was like a 15 to 20 minute delay on our end, technical stuff. Yep. Change in momentum. I couldn't be happier.
Can you imagine if that's what happens? Like that's the change in the season. Like the camera, it'll be the computer crashing. Like that's what turned it all around. Like every sports team, there's a moment.
The H2H computer crash.
Yep. Like with the Tebow Broncos, it was when they finally put them in, and they went from 1-4 to like 9-7. It's like that's. I don't like that. But let's get back on track here. Spread bet. I'm gonna go Bills minus 6.5. I just think that the Washington Commanders are frauds. You know, they got away with a couple of wins to start the year, but I just think it's a matter of them beating not great teams. Like they beat Arizona by 4 week 1, and then they sneak by and just barely beat the Broncos in week 2. I don't think they're a great team. I think they're a so-so team.
They shouldn't have won that game.
They shouldn't have.
Like I don't know if you saw it all over. That was pass interference in the end zone, like for 100%. Sure at the end of the game. Like that shouldn't have been Yeah,
100%. So I think they're frauds, and I do think like when things like that happen, like that game, the football gods correct it, and so I think the Bills are going to thrash them. I think Buffalo, they had a rough week 1, bounced back, big win against the Raiders. I think they're going to absolutely thrash the Commanders here. I think 6.5 is a generous line. I think that we actually benefit from the fact that like people are kind of drinking the Commanders' Kool-Aid. So I am going to say Bills minus 6.5. I think that's as good as a bet as you're going to find, because I don't like a lot of the bets this week. The spreads. I think this is a tough slate, a very tough slate this week. I think you already mentioned it. Like there's not a lot that I love here, but this is one of the picks that I did like a lot.
This was on my sheet, so I can't crap on it. The only thing I would say, and the reason why it wasn't my number 1 pick, was just like when we talked Giants last week, right? It just seemed like a trap, ended up being a trap. Even though the Giants win, 5.5 seemed too low. Like for whatever reason, I could see this being a trap type game, but that is nothing to do with like football. That's just line reading and whatnot. Like I think that this is a Bills team that if they don't lose to the Jets in a game in which all eyes were on them, Monday Night Football week 1, right? This is a 9.5 spread, regardless of what the Washington Commanders have done.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone cares about that. I think people think Josh Allen stinks right now, or he hasn't looked good, hasn't looked himself. It's all BS. He's one of the most talented guys in the league. Is he one of the best quarterbacks? Yes, he makes dumb quarterback decisions. I'm willing to say he's a better player than he is quarterback if I'm splitting hairs. Do you know what I mean? Like he can make some crazy plays. The Bills are good. Whether or not they're all together in week 3 could be sort of their downfall, and that this could be a trap. But I just can't lie to you. This was on my sheet. It was going to be my second spread pick. So I really hope we don't get another spread pick because I didn't bring much ammo for spreads this week. I just don't love many of the spots.
I'll be honest. I got a couple. I wrote a few down in terms of ones that I really like. It started with the Bills and ended with the Bills. So any other spread pick at this point is going to be a really risky one. But yeah, and to conclude your point on Josh Allen, I would say he's the Brett Favre of our generation. Like he's like that exciting. He makes crazy plays, and when he's on, he's on. But like he can make some really frustrating interceptions and like some really boneheaded decisions.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and that's like Brett Favre, like only one Super Bowl for his historic career. I think with Josh Allen, you're looking at the same thing. Like, I don't know how much like team success he's going to have with his style of play, but yeah, Bills minus 6.5.
All right. I don't hate it. I can't lie, but let's go ahead and jump into the third round here. Again, Tasos, you're leading this one off since it is a snake draft. What are you hoping for before I click it?
I'm looking for a total. I'm looking for a total here. I could use some good luck after all the technical issues. Let's get back on track here with the wheel.
I want a player prop. Come on, sit.
Stop at a total. It's going to be a player prop, isn't it? Wow. Okay.
Yes, it is.
This is not good, guys. If you're on Team Tasso, you a little scared. Things are starting to go Ev's way, but here's the thing, though. Ev is 2-0. I mean, 0-2. So it is,
everything's you can't even
right.
speak right.
0-2.
Okay.
You're 0-2. So I'm not. Nothing's proven yet.
Man, you are going first, but I want to put a little fear in you. The best thing that's happening to you right now is that I'm picking between two different player props, and I don't know which one to pick. That's your best case scenario right now, but you are leading off this round. What do you got?
Again, I'm going to stick with what works for me. It's those anytime touchdown bets. I've been pretty good on them so far. I'm going to go Brandon Ayuk, anytime touchdown, plus 155. You get that on DraftKings. Thursday Night Football, Niners and Giants. As somebody who proudly bet on the Giants last weekend, I will say I have receipts. I did bet on them live when they were down 20-0. Not money line. I bet spread, but still, I still bet on them. I believed in them when they were down. They're not a good football team. The Giants are not a good football team. And with Saquon Barkley hurt, they are even worse. The Niners, on the other hand, I know they didn't look great against the Rams. They still won. I think they are the best team in the NFL right now. Best, most talented roster. Their only weakness is Brock Purdy, and like if that's their only weakness, that's crazy because he's actually a strength right now.
Yeah, he's good. Like he is starting to be in. It's early into this year, but when there was like hype around him when he first came in and then kind of lit it up. First start, like all that last year. I always was like, all right, it's BS, it's hype, whatever. He might just be a good. I'm not saying he's great or what the hype was, but he might just be a serviceable, good quarterback that you can't really fault a team for. Like they have so many weapons around him. If he's just a middle of the road type guy, like not to talk about a guy that we both kind of talked up on the show. Kirk Cousins has been that serviceable guy. You put weapons around him, he's good.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. All the conversation around Purdy last year was always a system quarterback. It's because of the Niners. Like you could plug any quarterback into this offense and it's going to work. I think we're starting to figure out that it's less. I think it's less of him being a system quarterback and more like he's actually just a good quarterback, like you said. Like he's actually not a bad quarterback
even if he's
at all.
System, even if he's in the system, even if he's a system quarterback, he's in the system,
and he works.
That's what it is.
But like I honestly think like you could plug him on multiple other teams. I think he would still work. Maybe not as well, but I think that's the thing. I think the argument for everybody was like, oh, like Brock Purdy wouldn't work anywhere else. Like I think like if you put him on the Dolphins, if you put him on the Cowboys, if you put him on the Chiefs, like hold on, let me not the Chiefs. Their offense is kind of a little shady right now, but like you know what I'm saying. Like a lot of these other teams that have a lot of talent, like if you put him there, I think he succeeds. So it's not just a Niners thing. I think he's just actually a good quarterback. But anyways, Brandon Ayuk, anytime touchdown. I don't care what people say. I know Deebo Samuel is technically the wide receiver one, but it's really Brandon Ayuk. He is their number one wide receiver. He showed that in week 1 versus the Steelers. Had a little bit of a quiet game week 2 versus the Rams. That's okay. Going to get back on track here in week 3 against a Giants defense that also not very good. They've given up 60 points in the first 2 weeks to the Cowboys, where honestly, like it's Dak Prescott, and I know most of the points were scored by the defense, but still. And then Josh Jacobs and the Cardinals had their way with them in the first half. So I think their defense is not very good, and which is kind of crazy because their defense was solid last year. But their defense is not very good right now, and I just think the Niners offense, they're going to be throwing on them early and often. I expect this prop bet to hit in the first half. I think Ayuk will get this touchdown, maybe even the first quarter. Like if I don't know if that's a possible prop bet, like first half touchdown, if it's already available on DraftKings. I didn't check. But if that line's on there, you may want to bet that because I do think they're going to score early and often. So Brandon Ayuk, anytime touchdown. I'm taking anytime touchdown just to be safe. Plus 155, you get done DraftKings. I just think Ayuk didn't have a great game last week. I think he'll bounce back this week.
I think my biggest concern with it is that though you say that he's okay, I could see you saying he's their number one receiver, right? Debo Samuel probably is, but that dude plays a million positions for them, always in motion. I
He's a
think my
gadget
only
player.
issue, and but they love the gadget, right? And so is Christian
Yeah.
McCaffrey. I think that the biggest downfall, what could be in this pick, is that the 49ers are firing on all cylinders. They could score 5 touchdowns in the first half, right? They just have so many guys around him that, it's similar to what you said about my Zay Jones pick, right? It's like a lot of mouths to feed. At some point, you can be a good player. The stats could speak for themselves, but you just don't get it that day, right? So I don't hate it. I actually like Brandon Ayuk a lot. I think this 49ers team is, I was going to say underrated. I can't say that. When the fact that they're almost after 2 weeks, not a unanimous number one in power rankings, they're on plenty of people's number ones. You just said it. They're number one in my book, but a lot of people are still kind of putting them in the 2 spot. And I'm like, what do you need to, what more do you necessarily need to see? Like, that is a team that, again, their biggest weakness is a guy that's slightly above average. You know what I mean? Like, they, at all levels, it could be pass rush, other levels of the secondary, or even just like linebacker. It's like their defense is solid. Their offense, you can't say much about it. It's like, that is just a solid ass team. So I think the one thing that could bite you here is the fact that there's like 4 guys in that offense that you'd be like, oh yeah, they scored a touchdown. Like, that doesn't surprise me,
I agree. It is crazy. And I one last point on it. Like, my guilty pleasure, and I know people make fun of me, I do watch Colin Cowherd in the mornings. Like, when I'm at work, I'll have it in the background on the TV. And it is crazy. Like, he has them at 2, and it's like, I understand everyone's buying into the Dolphins hype right now. And I do get it. They're exciting, they're fun. But I just don't know how you watch those 2 teams and you still pick the Dolphins over the Niners. Like, they are just they have no weaknesses, really. Like, if Brock Purdy is their weakness, they have no weak. Like, they have a great offensive line, superstar running back, superstar receivers, great probably the best defense in the NFL. Like, they are just on every aspect of the game rock solid. And it's like, Dolphins are great, but like, they don't have a great defense, I don't think. They don't have a great
I think it's
offensive
got to
line.
be like, they're so explosive that it's exciting, right? Like, the people love that, which that doesn't mean you're number one. You know what I mean? You might be the most fun to watch.
Yeah. Well, you got Tyreek Hill, who, he talks a lot, and you got, they are a personality. They're an exciting team. You got Jalen Ramsey, and you got all these guys. They're an exciting team. I get it. They're, but I just think the Niners I just don't think it's even a question. I think they're the best team.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Like, that's why I was like about to say they're underrated. And I'm like, well, you can't say they're underrated, but they're kind of overlooked when you talk about best team in the league. But all right, I have a pretty heavy hitter here for my player prop. I have a more cement one. I'll text you or tell you off camera. Obviously, we can't be throwing like consolation picks into the show, because like, that's just not genuine. But I am going to be looking at a guy that you actually mentioned in week number 1. Not like in terms of picking or whatnot, but you're talking Ferguson and old targets of the Cowboys. I'm looking at Dalton Schultz, anytime touchdown scorer, for plus 340. Now, I got a couple questions asked. So I will say this as a statement. He's had a red zone target in each of the first 2 games. Touchdowns, I mean, that hasn't worked out yet, but it means he's due, all right? But if I were to ask you the worst team in the entire league so far through 2 weeks at touchdowns, or not touchdowns, fantasy score for tight ends, what team do you think it is?
Well, as someone who I thought I was big braining everyone into picking Dalton Schultz in every single fantasy football league, because I'm like, hey, you guys are going to take him. I will. He's like their best weapon on offense, really. So as someone who owns him, and I'm not joking, every single fantasy league,
Really?
I can tell you it's the Texans, because he's done nothing through 2 weeks.
Well, no, I'm saying the defense against. They're playing against Jacksonville. They have allowed the most.
Okay.
So you saw, I forget the guy's name on Indianapolis, but then obviously Kelsey against them. They've struggled against tight end so far. Dalton Schultz hasn't done much. We're agreeing on that. But he's gotten a target in the red zone each time. There's not a better team right now, statistically speaking, in the league that he could be going up against, that there's more of a chance that red zone target comes through. So I am looking for him to score a touchdown, and that would be a huge swing. Plus 340. He's done nothing lately. He's going up against the Jacksonville defense that I do think is a a decent defense, just not against tight ends. They've been allowing tight ends to kind of go off against them. So whether that equates directly to touchdowns, no, like the Indianapolis, and I wish I could remember his name. The Indianapolis tight end didn't score a touchdown, but he had like 60 yards on them.
Is it still Mo Alley Cox? Or
no,
like I don't.
Let's see if let's see if I can. It was.
I'll be honest. I don't keep up with what the Colts are doing these days. They are. They're not. I mean, I know Richardson obviously, but like I don't. Their offense.
Kylan Gransden. So
okay, don't even know who that is.
So there you go. But so you look at that and you're like, okay, he's a 25-year-old. He might even be a rookie, to be completely honest. I don't keep up with the Colts as much as the next guy either. But nonetheless, I just think that's a good spot for Dalton Schultz. Obviously, a proven receiver. The Texans stink. But for plus 340 for a big guy, big tight end in the end zone, when I think that, obviously they're already looked at him a couple times this year there. Give me them against a weak defense against that position.
I don't hate that, mainly because, he's on all my fantasy teams. So if he would like to score a touchdown, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't hate it. I am not a CJ Stroud. Well, it's not even about Schultz, really. It's more about who's throwing to him. I have this thing, and I'm not alone in this. I think it's a pretty general knowledge thing. Ohio State quarterbacks suck. It's a known thing. Like Justin Fields, people thought maybe he was going to be the one to change it, and I mean he looks terrible through the first couple of weeks. And CJ Stroud has not looked that good. To be fair, this Texans team isn't giving him a lot to work with. But I don't trust Ohio State quarterbacks, and I've watched the first game versus the was it the Colts they played week 1 or last week they played for the Colts. He didn't look very good. So my problem isn't with Schultz. I think Schultz, you put him on another team, I think Dalton Schultz was doing just fine. I just think he's catching passes from CJ Stroud, and that would scare me putting money. But plus 340, I mean, I get why the odds are where they're at, but I don't blame you. Not a horrible pick. Ev, you're doing a lot better this week. I want to give you props. You're doing a lot better this week.
I figured since, I already am speaking for the future, already hit my first pick and my second pick, I might as well go with like a, long shot type of play for my third. It makes sense, right? I got to give you a chance. Like I either hammer in the coffin or give you a chance.
I told you last week, if you're going to bet me, you can't go with the easy little soft bets. Like you got to go hard. So you're learning, you're picking up from what happened the first 2 weeks. That's very good. And, I actually respect all of your picks so far, for the most part. I think you're doing a lot. This is probably the best week out of the 3 weeks that you've had so far.
I love that you go, I respect all of your picks so far for the most part. I've given 3 picks. Like, what do you mean for the most part? There's 3 choices.
For the most part, like there are flaws in all 3 of them. Like like my picks, I think are pretty, flaw proof. But yours, I can poke holes in some of them, but that's okay. You're getting better. You're getting there. Like I hope you do better this weekend. I really do.
I mean, I'd like it to be a competition too. Like, how about a photo finish, not a time lapse finish? Like, I'd love to finish near you.
Well, week 1 kind of was like the Dolphins game kind of was the decider.
Yeah.
This week you were done by Thursday night. Like
you beat me by 3. I'm keeping track of it, right? You beat me by 3.7 units last week. That's just about. You know what I mean? Like, if these were all minus 110 picks, you pretty much swept me. So TJ Hawkinson helps you out there. But what's your player prop pick here?
I just went. I had Brandon Ayuk.
You did. That's true. I see. Tasos. That was such a bad pick. I forgot about it. That's not my fault.
Wow.
Nothing. You're telling me that was not even memorable. That was not even memorable.
I think you're just so nervous about losing this week that genuinely, like, you're scared right now. Like you're just, you don't even know where you are. You're on cloud 9. You don't even know what's going on because you just don't want to lose. And I get it. I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to be 0-3 either.
All right. So to recap so far, I guess we'll get into the fade me round because that'll be interesting. But to recap so far from a spread perspective, we'll just do it real quick. I went with the Eagles alternate spread minus 6.5. You went with the Bills minus 6.5 as well, right?
Yeah.
And then player prop, you went with Ayuk, and I went with. We missed the first.
You
one,
missed
Zay
the first
Jones.
Player prop, yeah. You want me to take over, Ev? I think you're having a rough time there.
Let's do it. Yeah, you rattled me. You know what? I think the energy's shifting back towards you. The
Yep.
laptop blows up, and all of a sudden my brain's blowing up. So why don't you take over?
So, and I don't even have it written in front of me. This is just the noggin working here. So the first player prop, you had Zay Jones anytime touchdown, which is fine. Not a terrible bet. I had.
Hey, we're just going through. We don't need your second opinion on it again. All right.
So you had Zay Jones anytime touchdown. I had Jalen Waddle anytime touchdown. For spreads, Ev had that alternate line, Eagles, Bucks, -6.5. I had Buffalo Bills -6.5. And then lastly, prop bets, I had Brandon Ayuk anytime touchdown. You had drawing a blank here. Dalton Schultz anytime touchdown.
Damn, I had a
when you want to talk about forgettable picks, that last one, very forgettable. So but I got it, don't worry.
All right, we're now entering the fade me round, guys. If you don't know what that is, pretty much we're gonna spin the wheel. Whoever it lands on gets to make one pick. It could be any pick at all, and the other person has to take the opposite. I did it last week. I made the pick, so I pretty much hand Tasos the opposite side of it, and it was just an absolute, like, I had no chance. I had no chance whatsoever. Right from, I think Kenneth Walker scored the first touchdown of the Seahawks early, and I was like, oh man, I have them under 22, and that's 7 within like 3 minutes. So yeah, fade me around, guys. Essentially, that is what it is. So if it lands on Tasos,
it's essentially the round that I win. It's essentially the round that I win every week. So just
should we call this the Tasos? Should we call it the Tasos round?
Honestly, if I win it again this week, it might have to be rebranded.
I think that I want you to have it because I need that you to keep making these decisions so that I could try and, because last week it didn't work. You know, I know week 1 you took a flyer and it worked. I get it. Lucky. Last week was bad. Like last week was bad. So I want this to land.
Okay.
Of course. Oh, that couldn't land more.
And it's going to be you. Okay.
All right. Well,
so let's see if you make the right decision here this week. Are you going to give me another win?
There goes plan number 1. I do have a couple. I guess spots here that I do like. I just don't know if I want to go. I don't know what strategy I want to use on you. There's one strategy that we haven't really, dove into yet, and it's the taking the really heavy favorite and forcing you to have like what shouldn't be a pick, but with the risk being, even if I win, it's a huge favorite, right? And if you guys don't recall last week, we did say you can't, trump his pick. So essentially, I couldn't go Bill's money line, and he had -6.5, or I couldn't make him bet kind of opposite what he's doing.
I'm waiting for you because I can see it in your face. Is that the strategy you're going with?
I have a couple picks that I want to roll with here. This is actually ridiculously stressful. I wanted this to be you so badly.
Let's see what you got.
Oh man.
I think I know where you're going with it. And I really hope I do.
I don't know if you do, but I'm doing this because I think it's going to kill you. If I say that, do you think I'm where you're going?
No, go ahead. Now you lost me a little bit.
All right.
Let me hear it.
Patriots money line -142.
No! Oh!
Yep.
Damn.
Oh, all right. What did you think I was going to go? What did you actually have something, or were you just trolling me again?
When you told me the strategy here and you're like, oh, I haven't picked a heavy favorite, I don't know what it is. I don't know why I like it. I love Broncos money line against the Dolphins. I think Miami.
That was one of the ones I was thinking, but I see your side of it. That's why I see your side of it. I was like, this could be the game. I have it in my notes. This could be the game where Russ cooks. I literally wrote that.
Exactly. They're 0-2. Dolphins 2-0. Everyone's hating on Russ. Everyone's loving 2-1 the Dolphins. It just feels like the perfect. And I already looked at the money, like where the difference is. 93% of America has their money on the Dolphins right now. Like I think the Broncos are due.
It was.
God, I really wish you. I really wish you were going with that.
I had the same thought. I was like, I literally have it in my notes. I was like, I think this is the time where Russ cooks. And I remember earlier in the episode when you took Waddle, and I was like, I think there's going to be points scored. I like the
Yep.
over in that game as
Me
well. Not
too.
that it's
I
included
have
in
it on
this,
my
but
sheet. The over.
but I think Miami, you know what you're going to get, and Denver's finally going to have a competent game. Last week
Yep.
was kind of weird, hunky dory, but all right, I'm glad I didn't, because I didn't really get myself. I did look at that, but I immediately thought the same thing. So now we're on the same page.
Mm.
All right. So the fade me round right now is -142 for the Patriots on the money line. If the Jets win, +126. So I put one of the biggest Patriots fans I know in a box here, playing mind games. For the sake of H2H, he's rooting for the Jets. But I have to imagine you're still rooting for the Patriots. You can't. This show doesn't trump your lifelong fandom.
The problem is, if this was week one, like if this was week one, I wouldn't care. The problem is the Patriots' entire season rides
now.
on this game. It rides on this game. If the Jets win, the Patriots are done. It's over. The season's finished. So, like, you know what? Hats off. Kudos to you. That was a good one. I give you props on that. You put me in a pretzel. Like that is a mental pretzel. I don't know what to do now. That is.
Look at you. I can barely see you. You're so leaned back in your chair. That chair is feeling everything of you. You're so leaned back. You don't even know what to do now.
No, I can't even like get like if I win the fade me for a third week in a row, I'm probably gonna cry about it. Like I don't even want to win.
Hey, that's a low blow, but you got to understand it. Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Great move.
I will say I'm 0-2. Gotta go for it.
Yeah,
but, yeah.
You are like the Patriots right now. Like your season's on the line. You got to win this one, and I don't blame you. Like you pull out all the stops.
I love that narrative. I love that narrative. Yep. Like I feel like now we're together in this. The Patriots and I we pretty much need to win. Like 0-3 in a video, like a show, I feel like is like, how do I even come back from? Picture that almost a month from now, we're still doing videos, and I'm just trying to get the lead at the very best. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But all right, guys, that's gonna wrap it for week number 3. That's season 1, episode 3 of H2H. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And yeah, I know I said it last week that I was looking forward to getting a win, but this week there's something different about it. I think something's happening. Zay's going to score a touchdown. Ooh, that's going to be nice. Dalton Schultz is probably going to score 8. The Patriots win. Oh, man, I think that we're looking at a lot of things. I mean, the Eagles may go out there and win by 42. So, yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
I left last week's show so happy and so confident and so full of life, and that pick just drained everything out of me. I am leaving this episode so uneasy, so uncomfortable. Hats off to you, Ev. I'll get you back for it. I'm going to get you back for it, but using the Pats fandom against me, that's a bold move. The bold move.
Hey, it's what you got to do. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Yeah. All right, we'll catch you guys in next week's episode. Let's go.